Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Film Appreciation Podcast. I'm your host Nick, and as always I'm joined by my co-hosts Isaac and Marlon.
I think it's interesting because we've tried to start this recording a couple times now.
Yeah.
Each time it got like a little bit more deflated, but we are here. It's been a while.
Been a while.
It's been a long while. We're in a new, different room.
With a TV.
2 angles.
2 angles.
Yep. So hopefully, for the rest of this podcast, it goes well.
Yes, indeed.
We have an interesting set of movies.
Yeah.
Especially considering we've been gone for a little bit. This is the movies we've come back with. Strange collection.
Yes, certainly at times will be difficult to appreciate the films, as we try to do on this podcast, but we will still try.
And we will start with Jack Black's most latest film.
Most
latest.
Most
Yeah.
latest.
Is it a Minecraft movie?
That is an important thing. We'll get to that. But yes, it's
A Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's Minecraft.
Oh, God.
So this thing's taken over the internet, not because it's good, but actually because it's the opposite, because it's bad.
But can it be so bad that it's good?
No.
Well,
Look, this is the thing. I want to get right into this because as everyone knows the memes from this movie, it's made a squillion dollars. Everyone's seen it. Embarrassingly enough, everyone's seen it. And the problem is that I'm a massive grandpa and I'm not tuned in at all to the memes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so when we went to watch the movie, Isaac wasn't there, but Marlon and I were there. We went to watch the movie. Cinema was packed. I was thinking,
Full.
packed, yeah. I was sitting there thinking, what the hell? Why is it so full for some stupid movie? And then it played, and everyone was losing their shit over different things, like Chicken Jockey,
Flint and Steel.
Lava Chicken.
I Am Steve, like all of this sort of crap.
That's mine. Let's craft.
Coming in hot.
Dude, Jason Momoa and
Jack Black.
69.
They managed to go through about 10 different sex positions,
Dude,
in a 1-minute scene
Could
while they're
be
flying
the
with a
best movie of all
Elytra.
time. I
Yeah.
mean, but the thing is that's so interesting about the movie is the first 5 minutes I genuinely thought were actually amazing. Like the way, like
No way.
no, because the fact that it was so absurd, I thought the whole movie just was going to have no story and it was just going to be a bunch of just an absurd collection of scenes, and I would just die laughing the whole time. A similar experience to like watching The Room, where you're not watching it because you're like, oh, here's a movie I'm watching. You're just purely like trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
But then they introduce the kids, and it becomes like the classic sort of hero's journey story, and you're just not interested in that at all. You're there to have a good time, and the story gets in the way of you having a good time, which is a crazy thing to say.
But this is the thing straight away that you got to think about. And I was actually thinking about this a lot, like after we saw it, because you cannot actually argue that this isn't a bad movie. Like this is a terrible.
No, it does everything it tries to do badly.
This is everything. Everything about it's terrible.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting thing, which is that clearly the film, to some degree, is aware of how shit,
Absolutely.
of how shit it is.
Yes.
Which is more noble than saying, like, I don't know what a good example of a movie would be.
Some of the newer Marvel releases.
Or even the Super Mario movie. I mean, it was better than this, but it's the same sort of thing. It's not. It takes itself seriously.
Oh, here you go. Here's a perfect example. I saw the TV Glow. Trash. Terrible movie, right?
But it's full of it.
But it's full of itself, but it's one of those movies that, like, refuses to acknowledge its badness. Like, even if you point out very objectively things about it that are bad, it gaslights you into trying to be like, no, this is actually good.
It's very deep.
Which
your interpretation's wrong.
Which, at bare minimum, the Minecraft movie doesn't do that. It goes, yeah, it's shit, but we're here to have a good time.
It leans into itself.
Which I at least admire that. But the bottom line is you've got 2 plates of crap, but just one is served to you in a more honest way.
Yeah.
They're still plates of crap.
One of them has like some, bullshit garnish, and the other one's like, no, we are just serving you crap.
We are just serving you crap, lamau.
And they're honest about it. Yeah.
The thing that I loved about the movie, though, is how many things it just kind of didn't care about in regards to Minecraft. Like, there's so many small details that if it really wanted to just be nothing but a nostalgia fest or something like that, like it should have.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have the Ender Dragon or anything.
Well, that's the other thing is that I haven't played Minecraft for about 10 years. So there were so many things in it, like the part where they 69 with wings.
With the Elytra.
They're flying with wings. And I'm like, how
You
do
don't
they...
even know about the Elytra?
No.
Well, the thing that's...
When do they get wings? Or like pandas and shit. I was like, what the fuck's all this?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
pandas
even...
are only
They didn't
like
even
7
show
years
like
old.
half of the stuff that's actually in Minecraft now. Like, they still kept it pretty...
OG.
Yeah. But no, like, there's so many things. And because I watched it with, obviously, kids basically all around me.
Uh-huh.
But everything I was saying and thinking, like, as a joke, but also still serious, they were also saying, like...
Well, yeah, because that's... As much as this generation is...
But they loved it, though, because they were like, that's actually wrong. This,
As much as this generation, or the younger generation, is quite interesting in terms of social media and stuff, they still all grow up playing Minecraft, generally, like we did.
Yeah.
And so they're able to get on board, but Nick and I saw it, and the cinema was full of adults.
Really?
Our cinema...
Oh, there was a lot of...
Oh, sorry, there were a couple...
Adult children.
Yeah, like teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of which that day I had turned 20.
Yeah.
So it was the best birthday movie.
That is actually crazy. I
ever.
forgot you watched it on your birthday.
Yeah. I'd done all the other birthday celebrations earlier in that week.
That's crazy.
But I saw about 10 people I recognised in that cinema
really?
on a Friday night. It was full.
Yeah, well, I went on a Tuesday night, and it was the same thing. It was
Yeah.
full.
Which is excellent. Let's not...
Yeah, I mean, if that gets you into a cinema, I mean...
But this is the problem, is it's like Hollywood's going to learn all the wrong lessons.
True.
Is that...
Reinforcing bad behavior.
They go, oh shit, this terrible film that we just made for the memes and for TikTok made $1 billion.
And was it expensive to make?
No, it was like 100 mil
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
comparatively,
this is what we're going to do. And instead of like giving money to something that's worthwhile,
Yeah.
it's just going to be this
Yeah.
fucking schlock.
Do we even, like... I mean, is it even any value to trying to critique the story or anything?
No. The story genuinely could have been written by AI.
Yeah, it was so bare bones. It's almost...
There isn't a
Like
story.
most-
It's not
yeah.
a story.
Yeah.
It's a sequence of events.
Yeah, but...
Loosely connected.
I mean, I guess we might as well talk about the characters then, which there are way too many.
Characters.
Yeah, well, the thinly veiled characters. What's the black lady's name? What's it?
No,
I don't even know who the actor is.
I don't know any of this.
Anyway, her character is just the most stereotypical, like, insert black lady.
So
And I thought that was insane.
her name's Dawn.
They don't give it any characterization. She's just like, it's crazy. And I mean, I can't believe they just got away with doing that. And then you have like Jason Momoa, which for some reason, this is what I don't understand the movie. What is with the 80s nostalgia? Minecraft is
no.
a
2010.
Dude, there is no
2000s,
like
2010s.
kid who grew up in Minecraft that understood it.
But is the 80s because like the parents have to come and watch it and they're going to be like, oh, the
look,
80s?
retro-
Like, I don't get it. It
Space
confused me
Invaders.
so bad.
Space Invaders.
Oh, and then
You've got Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge
who
with
dates
the-
a
which
villager.
was that was beautiful. Okay.
It was just
so we got to have a
ridiculous.
side tangent.
that was my favorite thing in the movie.
Side tangent. White Lotus, fantastic series. If
Great.
you've not watched it,
Yeah.
please go watch it. It's such an awesome
Yeah.
show. And Jennifer Coolidge basically plays.
She
her
does.
cha-
She
her
does play
character.
Tanya. Yeah.
She plays Tanya McCall.
I thought the exact same thing. Yeah.
And it was brilliant. Like, as soon as she was in it, like she plays the principal of the school that
Yeah.
Yeah.
the child goes to.
who's divorced her husband.
Yeah, or whatever. And it was great. And
She's lonely.
And I was sitting there thinking, I cannot believe Jennifer Coolidge, someone who is genuinely respectable, is in this fucking thing.
Yeah, and
Like,
and
it's
so
crazy.
the whole premise of how they get into Minecraft is Jack Black's character
Finds the orb.
this sort of
the
gold,
orb.
this
But
blue
it's
and
a
diamond
cube.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the orb, but it's a cube. And anyway, gets transported in,
Oh, because he yearned for the mines.
and then he gives his
God, shut up, bro.
he gives his
Died
dog
laughing when that happened. I can't lie.
he gives his dog a bone, and then gives the orb to the dog and tells him to hide it under his bed.
That's after you're skipping the whole Nether part. The evil random villain they made up for the movie when they could have just done the
Yes.
Ender Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Malgosha.
Malgosha, and she has
Wait,
the most
wait, no.
stupid motivation.
But
She
this
was
is-
like bullied or
But all
something.
of this is like, it's just bullshit because all of this is done so that they can just, they take stuff from this game to
Yeah.
make a shitty film,
Yeah.
and then they make up shit in the film so they can put it back into the game.
You
So,
reckon?
like, I
Do you think
guarantee
I don't think
that
Malgosha will be in the
weird,
game.
yeah, whatever
You
the
know,
pig is gonna turn
Malgosha
up.
is
No way.
voiced by a man.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, Alan Henry.
And then even the giant pig. There's no way that giant piglin will get put in the game.
No.
I don't think I don't think they'll get put in the game because the Malgosha is just too like stupid as a character.
Minecraft surely still respects
I think it's too
itself.
complicated for Malgosha. She's too intelligent as a character insofar as like piglins don't have any.
Yeah, there's just
motivation.
zombie pigs and
Yeah.
What isn't it gold?
Yeah, they just love gold. But yeah, I mean, her whole existence is so dumb. And then the whole ending fight that they have, I was just dying of laughter just imagining it as Avengers Endgame.
And I can't
It's
actually.
just so dumb.
Like, I don't mean to be mean to Jack Black, but I can't get over how Jack Black is just fat Jack Black. He doesn't look anything like Steve.
He's spherical.
He's got a beard.
He's not.
He's wearing a jumper. He doesn't look like Steve.
Yeah, he's wearing just like a sweater with like the V-neck.
It's so bizarre. Like, it's just, I don't get it at all. Like, why they decided, because clearly I just don't think they actually care.
No, I don't think so.
In the slightest. They're like, we're just completely 100% taking the piss.
Well, I think,
because how could we ever make something, which I don't actually think is true. I think it's possible that they could have actually made a
100%.
somewhat sophisticated
There's literally
movie.
the Minecraft story mode,
yeah.
which is obviously still directed at kids, but it proves that you can make a reasonably logical story out of the Minecraft world.
Yeah.
I think, though, what we should mention about why the movie might be the way it is the director, Jared Hess, who is the director of Napoleon Dynamite, which I don't know if any of us have seen.
I've seen Napoleon Dynamite.
But from what I know about Napoleon Dynamite, the entire movie is just supposed to be dumb and absurd. Supposedly there are references in this movie to it. I don't know.
Pick up on any. I wasn't paying attention.
My point here is like the fact that the movie is absurd and stupid might just be a symptom of the director. They chose to do it rather than the studio's belief in the ability to make a real Minecraft movie. Yeah. Although, I said at the start, the fact that it's called a Minecraft movie is really important because it means they're probably going to make 1 million of them.
Christ.
Because it leaves it so... It's not the Minecraft.
Yeah, right.
And you guys didn't stay the whole time, but I did because I made sure to give it a standing ovation at the end. And
of course.
I waited through the first end credit scene, which is Jennifer Coolidge and the villager.
Yeah, we saw that.
And she starts speaking villager and he starts speaking English and all that bullshit.
Right.
But the one at the very end, I was so excited because I'm like, there's no way this is actually going to be Alex. I was joking about it, like, oh my god, you know, like Thanos appearing type shit.
Yeah.
And he knocks on the door of where he used to live, I think, and he opens the door and it's a scene from behind, doesn't even show a face, of like a red-headed girl.
So yeah, the green clothing.
Yeah, anyway, my point is, I'm quite certain the fact that this movie is done so well means that there's going to be at least one more Minecraft movie. I genuinely think that's what they've aimed for here. Yeah. Or it's just supposed to be a nod to the fact that when you play Minecraft, it's extremely open and there's no one definitive Minecraft.
You have as many worlds as you want.
Well, for me, it also... It's sort of just colloquial, like in the sense it's just it goes, oh, this is a Minecraft movie. Like you're supposed to
but like
go, who even cares?
Sure, right. That's also true.
You know what this
it's
is?
Just a movie.
You know what this is? It's not the Minecraft film or anything. It's just,
it's so.
Here you go, son. This is a Minecraft movie.
Right. It's like some like knockoff that you would get.
Straight up.
Like
straight up.
Some rip off Minecraft thing. It's like like with Lego, how they have what is the Duplo Lego?
Yeah, Lego Duplo.
It's like the equivalent of like if you got given Duplo Lego instead of the real shit, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you would.
Timo.
This is a Lego block. I mean, it is.
Yeah, exactly. But
I mean, I guess we could talk about the performances. I mean,
they were terrible.
But I did enjoy Jack Black because of how bad it is.
Well,
and
Nick and I
it's just pitiful.
Nick and I spoke and both decided that he's just doing things he wants to do for fun.
Yeah,
there's no seriousness. He used to be serious.
But it's not a performance. Like, it's getting me wrong.
No, Jack
Black has these sensibilities, but it's not like comparing him in what's something that's actually respectable, like School of Rock.
Yeah.
In that, he's still acting, and he's doing things like carefully in a way. Whereas this is just he turned up to set, quite possibly blazed, and just was
he might have just been wearing his own clothes as well.
Yeah, that sweater probably was just in his like closet. And he just turned up.
Yeah.
He went, "Oh, I have a blue sweater."
Pair of jeans.
He put it on for the audition or something.
Yeah.
And they were like, "That's hilarious, Jack. You just wear that." And it was just like he's just. It's like someone you see at the pub.
My favorite thing about Jack Black now is he is such a rotund man.
So rotund.
But he is still so flexible and agile. And I look at my dad and Jack Black is far fatter than my father, but 30 times more mobile.
Yeah. Well, mate.
No offense to
he keeps fit,
dad,
man. No, but even the kids just pissed me off so bad. The main kid,
Henry.
What pissed me off immediately? What pissed me off immediately was when he was drawing like the designs in his books. I'm like, oh, it's foreshadowing that he's going to be really creative in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I hated that. Like,
I'm gonna build a jetpack.
yes,
Fuck off.
and then but I died when the jetpack like broke and it like
Blew up his sister's job.
Dude, could you imagine you did that? You move into a town and just kill the main industry. But bro, I don't know. I mean, I went and watched it with like 10 dudes from work, which made it absolutely. 2 of them dressed as Steve, so it was like, it was the greatest thing ever. And I was sitting there next to one of my friends from work, and next to us was just 2 teenage girls, and the whole time we're just like screaming like, you know, obscenities. You know, it was it was a lot of fun, which is, you know, I'm not going to fault it for being horrible if it was fun. But
Yeah, well,
it is genuinely
Nick and I's experience was probably more so absurd because we'd caught it the day after.
Yeah,
it
you
came
didn't know
out,
about it.
and there was less of the uproar and the
meme culture hadn't settled yet. It was still.
Whereas if you guys opened Instagram a week ago, you would have seen live chickens being released in
the
theaters,
fireworks and
popcorn being thrown everywhere, people getting in punch-ups because popcorn had been... There was one in the Gold Coast. A dad hit a kid.
People getting arrested, people beating the shit out of cinema
fires.
You know, you remember
people
when,
punching police.
Did you remember when everyone was complaining about the Joker movie being like, you know, inspiring violence?
Edginess and
Dude, Minecraft, which has no insinuation of violence at all, is the thing that's just led to just horrible behavior. I find that hilarious. I kind of respect that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude,
Respect
I don't know.
is a strong word.
Well, sure.
It's more of a what's the word?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
A summary of our society at the moment.
Yes. That this is the sort of thing that they're willing to do.
A sign of the times.
A sign of the times.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
And yeah, it was horrible.
It was horrible. So did you watch it and just not have a good time?
No, I had terrible time.
Really?
The Times...
Because like, this is the thing. I may sound like such an old fart, but it's like, I actually want to, like, if I'm paying money, I want to sit there in the cinema, I want everyone to be quiet, and I want to just watch what I'm watching. Now, don't get me wrong, I was enjoying at parts where people clap, mainly because, like, for Chicken Jockey, everyone clapped and went nuts. And I had no idea about the meme.
Yeah.
So everyone's clapping over this.
You're just going like, what the fuck?
Do you know what a chicken jockey is?
No, but I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard because everyone was freaking out over this seemingly nothing thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing my head off. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a horrible experience to watch. It was actually like I wasn't having a great time, but still, it was funny in the sense that people reacting to it was the only thing about it that I found.
Yeah,
fun.
my most enjoyable moments of the film were sitting there and hearing the laughter and the clapping, and, you know, it went dead silent right before Chicken Jockey.
Yeah, everyone's
silent.
preparing.
There's a steady murmur the whole
But
film.
how did they know that it was going to happen? Didn't it just come out?
It was been a full day,
They
and
must have
there
seen
would have been some
okay.
people, but it went silent. Everyone was talking the whole movie.
Or maybe it was in the trailer. Was it in the trailer? I don't know.
I didn't watch the trailer personally, but then, you know, at the same time, I kind of expected it to be shit.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be terrible.
I mean, I had no intentions of watching it.
No.
Well, it was actually, we must mention, it was a last minute change in podcast choice.
Yeah, because
we were going to watch Flow, which won Best Animated Film at the Oscars last year. 70 minutes, relatively short, all made on free software.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting premise, but again, being away, we lost time.
Yeah.
And Minecraft movie came out as we were supposed to record.
Yeah.
And we thought people would like to hear about Minecraft.
Which is true, and I'm sure that people will probably be more engaged in this review, which is probably our least sophisticated review of a movie ever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
people will love it.
I would find it kind of hilarious if there is a review out there of someone just doing like a really deep analysis where they're like,
someone definitely would have.
They're using like some literary theory, like just doing what we did in high school. I think that'd be hilarious. Taking it absolutely to the maximum of seriousness.
I think it's a waste of time.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't have much more to say.
We should probably move on.
Yeah.
Rating. Now, don't get me wrong.
I haven't thought about it.
I haven't either.
Everything about it deserves a 1, but I'm going to give it a 2. Because, to be honest, compared to when I watched, like, I saw the TV Glow, where I genuinely was thinking about seppuku, like, this, I wasn't wanting that at all. I was actually enjoying the fact that other people were enjoying it.
Yeah.
Even though I was having a terrible time. The fact that everyone was having so much fun was interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 2.
Well, I feel obliged to give higher than that because I was one of those people who had a good time.
Yeah.
But again, it would seem like I've committed a great moral atrocity to give it above like a 3. So I feel obligated to give it a 3.
You gotta think about that. Considering, what was that thing we gave a 3? Empire of Light.
Yeah.
Which, on paper, like...
is so much better.
A technical made film. Like, it was shot by Deakins, wasn't it?
And directed by Sam Mendes.
Yeah, like... But it was trash, but still.
Yeah.
Like, we gave that a 3. You're telling me we cannot have Minecraft be better than that.
And
I don't think... But who needs consistency with their ratings? I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Just random. No thought process.
That's very true.
I will give it a 3.
A 3.
Alright.
So that's... somehow not the lowest rated movie.
Well, I don't think you can't...
In fact, it might be like
Yeah.
a couple ways above that.
Which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Have we lost our credibility?
No.
Did we lose
it
it a long time ago?
I think we're
Did
more...
we ever have credibility?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go into something that was actually sort of decent. Mickey 17 was the second film that we're going to talk about.
Hell yeah.
It's directed by Bong Joon-ho. If you don't know him... Don't know how that's possible if you're actually into film at all. He made Parasite, which was one of the biggest things ever in the history of film. Won Best Picture, won like everything it was nominated for, to be fair. It is an amazing, amazing, amazing movie. And I was actually thinking about that, like how could you follow up that kind of film? Like what could you possibly make next? Because I just don't think he'd ever be able to top Parasite.
Yeah.
And I don't think there would be a director who could top it in their respective like career.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he actually was trying to do that. I think he actually wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
And this is definitely, because I've seen a few Bong Joon-ho movies, and Mickey 17 is definitely the most fun, I think. Basically, set in the future, you got Pattinson, and he plays Mickey, and Mickey is a guy who gets cloned.
Yeah.
And he's working on some space station or whatever in space in the future. And basically he's just this expendable.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to mention he chooses to be an expendable because of severe gambling debt.
Yeah.
On Earth.
Yeah.
As Earth falls
It
into
was
disrepair.
his Macron business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little French biscuits.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So anyway, he becomes this expendable and he gets killed numerous times. Actually 17 times. And then he's on this mission one day and everyone thinks he's dead, but it turns out he actually isn't dead at all. What the fuck is that? Mickey 71. That's
pull that
brilliant,
shit up,
Marlon.
Pull that shit up.
Pull up a picture of him in the snow or something.
Oh, you got...
Where is he in the snow? Yeah.
You got
I wonder how this
17
looks
and
on
18.
camera. This might
That'll do.
look pretty good, actually.
There you go.
That's spoilers.
Let's not spoil, because I'm about to explain this.
Alright, yeah, sure.
So, you got Mickey 17, there he is, on the right.
Yep.
And basically, he's on this mission, he falls down this hole or something, and he actually doesn't die. He gets saved by these weird rat things that live on the planet.
Like wormy...
They're like tardigrades, but massive.
Yeah.
They're disgusting. The point is that they...
It's Mark Ruffalo.
they rescue Mickey and then take him back to the ship, but by the time he gets back there, they've already recloned him, assuming that he's dead. And therefore, Mickey 18, that's that guy. 2 Battinsons, by the way. He's now alive, and so now they have this problem of their duplicates, which is what do they call them? Doubles.
Yeah, and it's forbidden.
Doubles
Illegal.
are forbidden because it's all fucked up
There's
ethically and
some
stuff.
crap that happened.
And so they're now both thinking, "Oh shit! If we get discovered, we're gonna die."
And neither wants to
Neither
die.
wants to die. Not that the film, I think, goes too much, especially in this dynamic of the ethics of who should live and who should die. Because again, I would say this is a fun movie. I think think it's really fun.
Yeah.
But I think it's still got a lot in it to
Still a lot in it.
unpack.
And
It
it's-
kind of goes so far as to just explain the fact why they both want to live, and it's because Mickey 17 now feels like his life isn't continuing because Mickey 18 is a separate
Mickey 18 has...
entity. It's not continuous.
Different thoughts,
There's yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's basically what it is. And you've got Mark Ruffalo who plays Trump.
No, Bong Joon-ho said it's not Trump. He said it's not.
That's an absolute lie.
He said it's not though, Nick.
It's a lie.
He can't be lying. He would never lie about the fact that it's
sure.
just
When he's got his big film
the
that he's
MAGA
trying to
hats.
screen in America.
The red hats is a coincidence. The red hats is a coincidence.
And it's
the
also
voice is a coincidence.
it's also a coincidence that Mark Ruffalo's just going.
That's all coincidence.
Dude,
That could happen to anyone, all right? That's coincidence.
Pull it up.
When
Should I have the Mark Ruffalo?
When I was watching it, I thought obviously there was the clear Trump connotation.
I mean, it's...
There you go. But I thought towards
Look at that one. Mark Ruffalo caught in 3. Look, see? Now over. One more. This one. Look at that. Click that.
Yeah.
You're telling me that is not a Trump ripoff?
But see, when I saw this Mark Ruffalo towards the end of Mickey 17, all I thought of was Marlon Brando.
Oh, yeah.
In the-
Dude, that's an
Look back
insult
there.
to Marlon Brando.
No, but I think it's... If I could spell it, it'd be great. But I thought, awfully similar to The Godfather.
But then they just give him like fascist.
But he's not
uniform.
trying to be...
No, but just the physical representation.
Kind of did like the lip thing, maybe. Yeah, I mean,
Like the
I don't
hair,
know.
the physique. But anyway.
It's all, and that was the thing with this movie is the satire. I thought was quite poor. I mean, like I can see why people would enjoy the satire, but it's just so clearly over the top and surface level. It's just basic moralizing, like, oh, this is what I think is bad. And it doesn't like give you any reason to think about why it's bad. You're just supposed to agree. And of course, I do agree.
Yeah.
Which is also the problem is who these days, except for a very specific set amount of people, are thinking like this scenario is good.
That also probably don't watch films like this.
It's just
the people he's
who is it
targeting
for?
to watch it.
Are
won't
people who
watch
agree
it.
with him.
Well, yeah, but the people he's, I guess, commenting on, won't watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. Another thing I have a problem with this movie is I think it struggles between being this super over-the-top obvious satire and then trying to be subtle in how it explores its themes. Like the first, what would it be, first half hour before like Mickey 18 happens. I think it's pretty enjoyable. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it did a good job of setting up a world which seems very corrupt and poorly designed. But then Mark Ruffalo really gets into the flow. And what's his wife?
Oh,
I can't remember.
let's find
What's
out.
her name?
Toni Collette.
Toni Collette.
Well, that's
plays
the actress.
an absolute. I mean, it's just it was so annoying, and it wasn't.
Yifa.
It wasn't annoying in a way where I'm like, this is a great satire. It was annoying in a way like, get off the screen.
Yeah.
You are annoying me.
The crazy thing is, it reminds me of people I've met,
Well, sure,
which
yeah.
pissed me
Which
off.
maybe is a good thing. I don't know,
Yeah.
but.
Well,
I
it
don't
means
know.
it's grounded in some
The
sense.
thing that also pissed me off is I feel like the interesting discussions that could have been had about the movie are the things that I cared the least about, The whole cloning situation I found was the most interesting thing because it has debates about, what it means to be a person, what it means to be an agent, I don't know. Memory.
Yeah.
But again, it's just not interested in these at all and it just leaves you like, going, okay, that was interesting. But, yeah.
See, I think, because we watched it together, Isaac, and when we came out, I think I said to you something like, 80% of the movie is a fairly original, well done sci-fi that's got, I think it's really well written, I think it's well paced, well acted, the effects look fantastic, everything about it. And then 20% is a shitty
Well,
satire.
do you think the ending was well paced? I found the ending dragged.
Do you mean the whole final
like,
climax
the whole
of
final-
the...
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost like false endings.
It just dragged.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was just enjoying the time in the world.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. By
Yeah.
the time that we got to the whole, they're both out there in the
I
snow.
think it's just the Ruffalo that dragged for me.
Yeah, and
saw it-
he's going out there and they're trying to drop this baby into the flames and all
Yeah.
this.
I
was
saw
like,
it 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, really?
Five
Wow.
fucking
That's a long
weeks
time
ago.
ago.
And I got out of the cinema really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I was able to, I suppose, think less about the commentaries of it, but just relate it to other things I'd seen. And so, for instance, I think the aliens that Mickey 17 and 18 end up empathizing with, the whole scene where they met reminded me of Empire Strikes Back with the Wampa and Luke Skywalker getting attacked by that, and obviously the Brando reference. But at the same time, I saw it with my girlfriend. She hated it.
Really?
Hated it. Thought it was too over the top.
Yeah.
Silly.
It can be distracting.
The silliness I didn't mind. Like, I found
that's
Robert
what I
Pattinson did a
enjoyed
really
about
good
it.
job of channeling that silly energy. Yeah.
And in the same vein, I found Mickey 17 and 18's relationship the best part of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By far.
Pattinson's such a good actor. He must have scenes with himself.
He's got great chemistry with himself, yeah.
And I really appreciated Mark Ruffalo
Yeah.
as an actor.
Yeah.
Considering the last time we saw him was in Poor Things, and he was also great. I thought it's two back-to-back good performances.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think he was as good in this, obviously, as Poor Things.
No, Poor Things
was actually... I don't think his character in this was particularly well written because it is so much of a satire.
Yeah.
Well, he's got such a clear job.
Yeah,
And he's just
he's one-dimensional.
has to do it.
Yeah.
Which is the criticism people have been saying of Bong Joon-ho with this film. Is just the same I guess, messages being portrayed through a worse film
Yeah.
than Parasite.
Have you guys seen Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
I haven't
Long
seen
time
it.
ago.
Yeah,
Long
years
time.
and
I haven't seen it, but I think that's the comparison a lot of people are making in terms of like which.
From
better.
memory, Mickey 17 for me was a lot better.
Yeah.
I found Snowpiercer to be... Because basically in Snowpiercer, if my memory serves me correct, you got this big train.
Yeah.
And this train, I'm pretty sure
It's
it's
like set up like in classes or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like the end of humanity or something, and everyone's surviving on this train. And yeah, you've got like the poor people at the back and the rich people at the front. The rich people are all sitting there, and it's like cash money and luxury, and the poor are like in this rat hole.
And just trying to fight your way to the top.
Yeah, and that's
And
basically
I enjoyed
what it. Is. It was fine, but I do think, and it's funny that I say this because it's not, in some ways it's not true, obviously, with what we've already just mentioned, but I think Mickey 17 is actually a subtler movie. And I just mean that in the sense that I don't think the satire element is the main point of the movie. It's not the meat of the movie. That's something that's sort of just as an add-on, which is why I find it a little bit distracting, because the majority of the film I don't think has anything to do with
sci-fi.
It's a sci-fi thing.
Yeah. And the way you're thinking, the interesting thoughts come from like, what if the world is like this in the future rather than like, this is us now.
Yeah. And what I found funny or interesting is that what's so bizarre stylistically as a choice is how blatant and obvious the parodies of Trump or whatever are. But then I actually think that the way he handled certainly like the two of them being alive at the same time, I don't think there was ever really there wasn't a scene where one of them said, I should be alive type of thing. Like other than
the start.
The initial interaction.
First.
But
that was almost emotional, like
it was just an instant reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there wasn't a scene where he tried to spoon feed to you what you were supposed to think about this whole thing. It was just sort of once it had been addressed initially that it was a problem. It just sort of the story went away with itself.
And because they both appeal to different people, and anyone watching will see themselves in one of the two, if not both. And Mickey 18 is a very outgoing, charismatic, kind of crazy dude.
Yeah.
Well, he's a psychopath.
Yeah, and Mickey 17, he wants to fuck Mickey 17 at a point.
He did want to do that.
Yeah, like let's be real. And Mickey 17 is quite shy, humble.
Yeah, he's less sure of himself. I don't know, dude. And then there's the love aspect of the
with
movie.
Naomi Aki.
Nasha.
Yeah.
And then there's Kai.
Who's,
and I found that so pointless. Except to introduce... The whole point of her character is to introduce that someone else knows about the doubles. Because she comes to his room. But like her having some kind of attraction to Mickey 17, I don't know why that needed to be done. It just felt like adding another subplot, of which there were many in this film. And all the subplots to me seem to just distract you from...
Well, there was the drug one.
There's all this stuff. And then, and we haven't even mentioned him. There's so many subplots in this movie. His friend, played by, what's his name?
Stephen Young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't
that's
remember, his
the
name's
drug...
Timo or something in this movie. But, yeah, I mean, my point is, like, I really enjoyed his character, and he's never in it. And when he is in it, he gets small little, like, parts to do.
Timo.
But yeah, I mean, even like the ending of Nasha becoming like the council
president
committee person, like that didn't make any sense to me, except that it was an emotional tie-up, to finish the movie. It doesn't make sense from the perspective of his political critique, except like, Like it doesn't fit the movie. Like why would she become? She doesn't have any previous
Attributes,
experience.
Yeah. Well, also from the settlement perspective and
right
establishing a colony.
So if he really wanted to make a coherent political critique, it seems to undermine that. But I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I don't know. I think the movie sort of, when it does the political stuff, it's at its worst. And I'm not saying it's not allowed to do that, but like, for example, Philip Roth, who's an author I've been reading at the moment, all his books are political. That's just what they are about. But he never tells you, like, this is the correct political view. This person is, awful. He just describes very descriptively what is happening, and it's not like I don't, like, with aligning with what he thinks, I think. Like, the job of the artist isn't to tell you with a movie what their preferred political position is, because that's just propaganda. Like, that would just be trying to manipulate people into agreeing with you. The job of art is to get you to think about politics in a way you wouldn't have otherwise, or just human experience generally. So, like, with a movie like this, you're allowed to obviously do satire, but the satire has to not be like a basic moralizing and virtue signaling about this aspect of fascism is wrong. Explain why the system even allows characters like Mark Ruffalo's to exist. I mean, that's the other problem as well, is it seems to not even be like a deep system critique. It's just like you have people like Mark Ruffalo and they make the fascism happen, and it's like, well, what the hell is causing fascism to happen on a deeper level? And maybe you say capitalism, and then you say, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to do anything except tell everyone what Bong Joon-ho believes. And I just feel like that's a pointless exercise, and it's not interesting, it's not fun, and it's just annoying in a way. I don't know. I think the things it does well and the things it does the least are the deeper questions about what it means to be a person, what it means to be in a situation we haven't been in before, the same way 2001 and Solaris do it. And it just doesn't care about those questions, and I think that's to its detriment.
For me, I don't know, like, if I had the choice, I would rather the satire shit not be in it, for sure.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of enjoyed that it didn't address the questions. Like, for me, I was able to sort of marinate on the questions in the back of my head.
But it doesn't...
But...
Yeah.
I don't like when movies take me out of the story and try to make me think about other stuff. I like finishing the film, or whatever it is, and then think about the story and then see where it takes me in terms of thematics and whatever. And this thing, for me, I thought primarily was just trying to be entertaining, which it was for me. And I really enjoyed the world and the story of just being in it. And I think there's ways to poke holes in it, for sure. But I actually think it's a credit to the movie that it didn't get weighed down by its own self-righteousness and throwing out these critiques and things like that.
And that can still be fun.
It was just... those elements are definitely in it, but I think primarily it was just trying to be fun, which is what I think...
Which it is, for the most part.
Which I think is what his goal must have been, because he did Parasite, which was a masterful critique on societal classes and things like that. And it did it in a very unique and very original way. And then with this, he was kind of like, that's kind of what he's interested in. So it's still present, but, he did it in a... I did it very seriously and very artistically, and I'm going to go this way and do kind of the opposite.
And I think what Isaac said, which helps how you felt and helps me, I suppose, is because the smaller themes in it are so infrequently touched on that they almost brush over you until, you notice it, and then it doesn't appear again until you're thinking about it after the film. So it's not constantly...
Well, that's when I say, like, address it, I don't mean tell you, like, give you answers, because the answers it will give you are going to be less interesting than thinking the questions about it.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like, it almost just forgot about those questions entirely in the movie. Like, for example, Mickey 17 and 18, right, when they first come together, that's the question. But then for the rest of the movie, there's so much extra stuff in there that by the end of it, the question is almost covered up by, like, the heroics of Mickey 18 and, and then, like, I don't know. I just think there's too much extra stuff that it could have done without, and it would have still been really funny and enjoyable. They could have still done the political stuff, but I just don't think they had to do it the way they did it. Or if they were going to do it, be more inclined towards that perspective rather than trying to fit all these different things together. And I mean, I know like Bong Joon-ho is really good at fitting disparate genres, styles together.
Yeah.
I mean, almost in some of the same scenes, they just like fit everything together, and it's really impressive. But there were times in this movie where I felt it just could have done so much more.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had a great time. I found I mean, the aliens we haven't even really spoken about. I found the aliens really enjoyable. I thought they were really interesting too.
Well, yeah, that was waiting for you to.
There were so many questions to talk about here. Again, with intelligence, agency. Again, personhood. Because do we class them as persons? It seems like we should.
And then beyond that as well, you get the indigenous.
Yeah, colonialism.
Yeah.
But even the colonialism stuff, I think it was scared to really pay much attention to, except to say it's bad to go to here and ruin their planet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a stage of like post-colonial era where most people agree with that. So do a better analysis. It's not like we're in the 20th century where, you have a lot of people who are pro-colonialism. I mean, there's probably a select few people who still are, but like, let's do something more interesting about this particular space colonial situation and why people might view that differently to on Earth. And then, I don't know, I just think there was so much it could have done, and almost thinking about what it could have done is more enjoyable than what it did, you know what I mean?
Left you unfulfilled.
And I could definitely, I could get behind that in the sense that it had the potential to be amazing. Like, it has all the elements there to be a frickin' masterpiece.
And I also wonder what the book is like.
Yeah, but
so it's an adaptation?
Yeah. But I've heard that it's like very different. So I don't know. But I think it's probably just inspired at most.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I didn't really think about it too much after seeing it, to be fair. Sort of watched it, enjoyed it. I hadn't been to the cinema for a while. And saw it, watched it, enjoyed it. And especially when I'm thinking about this and then the thing I saw after it was Minecraft. I'm like...
A lot of appreciation for me.
A lot of appreciation for this. At least this is like made by someone who's clearly trying. Yeah. Like, and I don't think it all works. And yeah, maybe all the pieces don't tessellate, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to quickly say something else about the aliens, I also found it really interesting. This would have been interesting for it. I mean, it's interesting just the way they did it anyway, I guess, but how it treats that species, because they are like a collective intelligence. They're a hive, and they do the swarm behavior around the base, but they're also very distinct individuals at the same time. They're treated individually, and I think that's interesting because, like, you would assume in like a hive type of thing, like even if you think about humans, right, your cells have some level of intelligence under certain definitions. When you like flick off your dead skin cells or whatever, you're not concerned about the cells because you care about the collective as a whole. But in this situation, these aliens who are a collective intelligence really do care about the individuals, and you would assume that they wouldn't, because losing one isn't that big a deal to the collective success. Yeah, and I think that is an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
well, it just shows a level of complexity to them that isn't explored.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
But I suppose also isn't a priority for any of the characters.
No.
In the film either, and the way that I suppose even Mark Ruffalo obviously is just destroy.
Yeah.
And all they're thinking about is preventing, but it's interesting to think about that when the autonomy of one is the, I suppose, instigator for the whole fight at the end, right? Because they abduct a
baby,
as a test subject.
Yeah,
because Toni Collette's character wants to make
sauce.
Sauce.
Yes,
red sauce.
I didn't like
well,
that.
Her whole insanity is just
that was super undercooked.
Yeah.
That kind of, for me, came out of fucking
And I wonder
nowhere.
what that's inspired by. Like, what's that supposed to be critiquing? Is it supposed to just be a critique of like the right hand insane people of dictators?
I think it's also just the obsession with obscure and unique, or putting value in things that aren't inherently valuable or have no use. The absurdity of
I guess,
ivory.
Well, she's also
and
obviously the
superstition.
bourgeois. and she
like
is so disconnected.
Killing an
alienated.
elephant for its tusk that has no medical
Of course,
purpose.
yeah, that's the obvious thing. So she's just
Putting
supposed to
tiger
represent.
bones in your medicine.
Yeah.
So she's just supposed to represent the bourgeois.
Yeah, and their
she's
insane
alienated from
eclectic taste.
blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. Well, that's the other thing. Religion plays some role because there's the joke that comes to mind firstly is when he's at dinner with Mickey 17 and he goes, I can't remember what the context of this line is, but he's like, the company or something, but he says the church. Oh, sorry, the company. And he corrects himself because obviously there's some, I think the critique would just be like the role of religion in government shouldn't be there, and most people, because I think they believe that these days, are supposed to look at that and go, yeah, see, that's what these fascist governments are doing, and you go, haha. But again, even that felt like it was undercooked. Even the propagandist dude, like the one filming everything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
That reminded me of the dude in the cage in Apocalypse Now.
Oh.
If you guys...
And that's at the end?
Yeah, when they go to Marlon Brando's hideout of Colonel Kurtz. And
he was a weird looking
this
dude.
Journalist that's like doing all the right things for him, still locked in a fucking cage. And
yeah, I guess I also enjoyed him because he does two things. He demonstrates, how fascism promotes itself as blah blah blah, but it also he's the one who's kind of rearing on the Mark Ruffalo's character to keep doing this stuff because it's like, oh, this is going to look amazing and so on. And I think that is also an interesting point, the fact that the propaganda isn't just a tool that is being used, it's a tool that actually is controlling the guy who's using it as to manipulate the people. So even, I mean, that's interesting, I guess, but yeah, anyway, I don't know much more else to say, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I've forgotten most of it, to be fair.
yeah. Well, you guys saw like 2 weeks after me. And
yeah, and your sort of things that you're bringing up now, like the Source thing, I completely forgot that was a thing until you.
Well, you see, the thing is, because I remember when we spoke about the movie afterwards, I was quite torn on it.
Yeah.
But the more I thought about it, the more I because I was thinking about it, because again, these questions I actually enjoyed, but those were the questions I felt like I was thinking about the most disconnected to the movie. They were purely like...
Yeah.
like
with
graced the screen and then left.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about them in just purely like, oh, this question from a philosophical standpoint, not from the standpoint of how it was dressed.
Characters.
Yeah. And the political stuff I was thinking about a lot, and how it was represented in the film, because it just seemed to me to be done poorly. And that I thought about a lot, and because that was so clearly connected to the film and the way I was thinking about it, that is what has stayed in my mind. So how long ago did we watch it? It would have been 4 weeks, right? Because you said 6 weeks?
Yeah.
So...
a while ago.
I don't have that fresh enjoyment factor, which I did have when I left the theater anymore. So my view of it has slowly become more and more like, But I definitely remember, like, I had a great time. Basically, the entire movie, there were like those small parts with Toni Collette's character and Mark Ruffalo, which I felt were just, please kill me, just stop.
Yeah.
And then the ending, I just felt kept going, and it was like, I get the point, just do something interesting.
Yeah.
And you knew what was going to happen too. And I don't know, it was like, okay, I get it.
You got
nice.
Mickey 17 got the cordyceps.
Bro, you guys don't know about this Last of Us episode 2?
Tonight.
Let's go, bro.
Oh, fucking let's go.
Oh, anyway.
Chopped off.
No, don't bring that disgusting meme onto our fucking channel.
But yeah,
alright, let's wrap it up.
To rate it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I'm feeling a 6.
7 for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, well, that brings us to the last movie for today, which was my pick. It is The Straight Story by David Lynch.
Rest in peace.
Otherwise known... Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah,
I forgot that's why I picked it.
Yeah, so that's how fucking... I'm
long
talking to this camera now. That's how long ago this was, is that when Bowie picked this, it was like mid-January, and David Lynch had just died. So
I still can't believe it. It doesn't actually feel...
He died like,
that's why I forgot.
like
I literally
4
forgot
months
that
ago.
he was dead.
Yeah, like whereas if we had only just done episode 20 blah blah blah,
yeah.
we might have picked something by Gene Hackman, and even that was a month ago.
True, yeah.
You know, because I went and saw The Conversation right after that happened, which is
Yeah.
excellent as well, and rewatched Royal Tenenbaums. He's a great actor. But yeah, The Straight Story, Directed
The
by
Straight
David
Story.
Lynch.
David Lynch's most experimental film, in his own words. And you might wonder, wow.
I actually
what does
think
that
I could
mean?
understand him saying that. For
And
sure.
yeah, so the movie is literally a straight story. It's about
a guy going from A to B.
Exactly. A retired farmer, Alvin, whose brother, who hasn't spoken to in about a decade, I think it's exactly a decade, has had a stroke. And so Alvin decides, you know what, put all that past stuff behind me, I'm going to go see my brother. But he has a problem because he has terrible vision and he can't drive. So he decides, well, the way I'm going to get there is on my tractor. And so he goes on this trip across, where is it again?
He went from
Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, no, he's going to Wisconsin.
He's going to Wisconsin.
He was going from Iowa.
Okay, so he's going, and that is just straight farm corn, I believe.
Yeah.
Wheat, maybe corn, I presume. Anyway,
No, this is fresh in Nick's mind because he watched it today.
Yeah.
he finished it today.
Lucky boy.
Yeah.
Today, yeah.
And so I haven't watched this in a while, but there's not much to forget. I think I
No,
remember
yeah.
mostly everything. And so along the way, he meets different people. And the thing that's very interesting about this movie, and it's kind of Lynchian in a way, is that every character is just super nice and like generous in a way that is not expected in real life. And there's a reason for that, I think, and I think it's because it expresses the stereotype of the Midwestern individual who's just generous and hardworking and so on. But eventually, yeah, he gets to his destination and he meets his brother, and they don't even really speak. They just
I think he says one line to him.
yeah, and there's just this outpour of emotion on these men's faces without any real over the top melodramatic expression, and I think it's amazing. But yeah, so where this movie happens is not really like pushed. It's not pushed forward through like deep, crazy plot points, but on a very foreground level, I guess you would say, it's kind of just a movie about a guy going from point A to point B, and you go, nice. But it's when you step back to the background and look at the characters and how they relate that it's really
It's essentially a character study.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting that you mentioned the protagonists, not the protagonists, but the sort of the side characters that he meets, which they all were like varying degrees of nice, but no one was like bad.
yeah.
But for me, I wasn't really considering that themselves. I think what it does well, and how it's very well written, is that each character that he meets more or less reveals a certain part of his backstory.
Yes, also that. Yes.
And he, like the first person he meets, I'm pretty sure was that girl, pregnant girl.
Pregnant lady, yeah.
And that's where you kind of actually learn more about his daughter, and there's backstory delivered there. And it's very well done because, after the point of him leaving, you don't have that much to do with the daughter character. But it was still able to get quite emotional.
Yes, it keeps you
Super
connected to it
emotional
emotionally,
film.
yeah.
Just in that sort of reflection, and you sort of, I think he cuts back to her, and you see just her for a shot, looking out the window, but the narration is saying that she's thinking about her like children that she was separated from,
Yeah.
which was very good. But that's just one example of basically every time he runs into some people, more or less. I mean, there's varying degrees, but like he meets another guy and they talk about the war.
Yes, and
in a
he tells a
pub.
story that he's like never told.
Yeah, that's right, in the pub. And
Was that the one where he kills
Yeah, he
his
killed
own,
his own man.
Yeah, and breaks... Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. And it just sort of goes on from there. And there are other ones where obviously like...
There's the people watching the fire extinguishing practice.
Yeah, well, that's where he
And,
crashes.
he's crashed because he's coming down the hill and he has no his brakes failed.
Yeah, and obviously you've got all these firefighters
Yeah.
that come and help him straight away, and that's where he meets one of the final characters.
Guy's name's like Dan or something. But the thing that's so great about that whole interaction is Alvin never steps foot in his house. He like refuses to enter.
He stays in his tractor bed and...
Yeah, and that's the thing that his character represents as well as this sort of stubborn.
It's independence. It's
Yeah.
the loss of independence as you age, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's-
Alvin is the antithesis.
And that's the other thing about this movie is it's also an exploration of the aging process because each place is like explores like him as a young man and there's the one where he's talking to, I think they were like cyclists or something. What were they? Or they were runners or something. And he's like hanging out with them at night time and he's talking to like they're just young people, I guess.
Yeah.
It's important. And he
Is
says,
that-
you don't know like what it's like, how good it is when you're young. And
Well, no, because that was one of the most pertinent lines in the film, which was something they say something like, "What's so bad about getting old?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Because you still remember what it was like."
Yes, exactly.
And there's one of the things that I was trying to determine is sort of what is the through line of the movie, and I'm not really sure what it is because obviously, I think in general it seems kind of dumb to say, but I think it's true. It is in general about life. I don't think it's specifically just about like aging or something because, like at the start, when they set up his character where he's clearly sick, he's got all these problems. Like they're like, if you don't change, you're gonna die soon. You're gonna have some major problems soon.
Yeah.
And the next scene, he's like smoking a cigar,
and he falls over and
and he does all of this stuff, and it's this stubbornness of, nah, I'm gonna do it my own way. Like, because clearly he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm going to live my life by my own accord.
And the thing that's super interesting about Alvin is he's sort of portrayed as a benevolent character who's just sort of, he's just a good dude, you know. But it's interesting to think about, based on the bits of story we get, about how he's become this good dude. He's done a lot of bad things, you know. Was it his fault for the fire? Is that with his daughter losing her kids?
No.
Or is that not?
No.
What's the explanation for that again? For what happened? It was something to do with babysitting, isn't it? Like she wasn't even responsible.
No, I thought it was like just a complete accident. Like I don't think she was involved, but they blamed her because I don't think
she didn't have the men.
She wasn't vigilant. Wasn't it that the kid did?
Well, I can't remember. Well, even
his wife was wrongly blamed for the fire.
So whose wife? Alvin's wife.
Well, it says there's a mention of past incident involving Alvin Straight's wife, Rose, who was wrongly blamed for a fire leading to the loss of her children.
Okay. Well, even you know, ignoring that, the drinking and his obviously being probably abusive or whatever, and then
because of the war,
and all that, and you sort of learn about Alvin and his life. He's clearly not been a good person his whole life. And he's done things that are bad, and it's about how that leads to where where he is now, and sort of what has pushed him to be.
Well, it's a resilience. It's a resilience of sorts. And you see it a lot in prisoners, and things like that, where they come out not reformed but renewed, you know, in a sense. But I mean, we've all got aging grandparents or past grandparents, etc., and I can see all of them so clearly in Alvin because you want to keep that independence and they are resilient and they are stubborn, but they hold so much wisdom and life experience that we can never begin to, I suppose, fathom as of yet. And I'd lost my granddad right before I saw this. And you know, I think that one of the baseline things is literally just what it's like to be old. And which is, I think, something very rarely portrayed in films. Yeah. In my opinion, you know.
Maybe because I don't actually think that this movie portrays him being old as a negative, which I think is interesting. It's just a very objective portrait of old age.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that's something that's very underrepresented. They're always side characters or very impartial to storylines. You never get really old people as the center or the focal point.
Sure.
And so I guess it's something that, other than being seen as a hindrance and as a burden carried by, you know, the sons or the grandchildren, these are actual people that still want to live life and maybe can't, or are trying to but are held back by this and that, and that regardless of, you know, less of a pity empathy but more of a genuine empathy and care that should be, I suppose, shown to these people. You know, because a lot of people, you look at an old guy and you go, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are still people that want to do things.
Yeah. And I guess that's also, there's an uplifting element to that, which is that not like his goal was particularly difficult. No. It's not like he helped himself, but not that he really had a choice. Yeah. He couldn't get a driver's license. But
and that's the stubbornness.
But the fact that he still managed to do it is a testament to his will, and I admire that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was beautiful, and I wish I'd seen it either again more recently or just watched it later, but I really enjoyed it. The whole film.
Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting because it was also so clearly a David Lynch directed movie, and there were elements
Yes.
where there were certain bits that if it was any other David Lynch movie, shit would have hit the fan.
The slow zooms, and
it's honestly kind of like there were elements where it was like Twin Peaks, especially at the very start where where the camera comes in and there's the trees, and it's one thing I love about David Lynch. Once you start listening to a lot of his stuff, is how he talks about through his meditation, certain sounds and certain images is what evokes him with particular ideas, and how he looked at a painting of grasslands like before he was a filmmaker, and then as he focused on it and he meditated, he could start hearing the wind that wasn't there but he knew would be there in that painting.
Is that some kind of synesthesia?
It's not synesthesia because they're not the same senses, but it's just hallucination.
Fuck yeah.
But I was sitting there, and as it started, and it was that really strong presence of the wind for like 5 minutes at the start, and I was just thinking that is so Lynch. It's so tangible that because it's so immersive. His sort of hyper obsession with certain elements of nature really brings me into his stories. I find almost unlike any other director, because he pays attention to things that you wouldn't really think would be significant. Like, why the fuck would wind be significant? Yet it was.
And like the way he shoots with like the bird's eye view shots of like the fields of corn or whatever. They're just going along, and in any other Lynch you'd feel some sort of eeriness, but there's just the soundtrack is kind of like and
I tell you what,
it just makes you feel the culture.
It would be an interesting experiment to literally put the Twin Peaks music over this movie.
Oh yeah,
and just
it would make this zoom into the house.
It would make this movie seem super creepy.
Yeah,
but no.
That also just shows you how important music is.
Yeah. But it's a very well-made film. I personally didn't, like I'll just say outright, like I didn't really connect with it too much. I thought it was well done, but that's it.
It's a good straight story.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, but I don't know. For me, when it comes to tackling these sort of, when you're dealing with drama and you're dealing with trying to explore the human condition, I need a bit more substance to care more about stuff. That's just a totally personal thing. It's not on the film. But for me to really get invested in a story, there needs to be a bit more happening for me to super care about what's going on. In this instance, I personally just didn't really connect with it. And like at the end, don't get me wrong, I still could feel the emotional catharsis of the moment, like when he met his brother. But I personally was very...
I kind of agree with you. But I also enjoyed it.
What was their feud about? It was something really...
Get to that level of...
Like, I feel like this is the kind of movie where you should be crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't anywhere near that.
Not that I think, and which I really appreciate, that Lynch is trying to wring tears out of you, which you can see in, like, so many other bullshit films where they
ramp the music up,
ramp up the melodrama.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's tears and there's blood. Yeah. Crying and screaming.
What was the brothers' feud about?
I don't think it's
super.
They didn't mention.
I don't think,
but it was acknowledged as petty by other characters, right?
But all that was said was towards the end. They said something like it had to do with his alcoholism.
Yeah,
but that's
right.
It.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was a brief comment. But they didn't go into depth.
There's a sort of. I feel like there might be an interesting tendency for people, because it's Lynch, to still treat this movie as if it's doing the whole analysis of the facade of Americana. Because if it was doing that, there would be certain decisions relating to, like, Alvin's character, which they would kind of, I think, analyze more, like, deeply. For example, they might interpret, because I don't think it's explicit, they might interpret the losing of the child as, like, he was the one responsible for supposed to be looking after them and let them get burnt.
Yeah.
And, like, him losing control of the tractor is a reminder of when he lost control there and stuff like that. But because Lynch has said this is his most experimental film, I have a feeling that it's not any deeper than it is. And the way we've analysed it might actually just be what he intended. I mean, obviously the author's intention isn't the only thing to consider, but...
reader-centric
views. But I think that's just what's in the text is that. There's nothing deeper to explore.
But I agree in the idea.
Although you can.
I think the idea behind it is when he says that it's his most experimental is all of his films are so him. And they have that, I hate this phrase, but that dreamlike logic or quality to them. And they're so essentially him, and from his perspective, it's so natural what he's doing. He's just expressing himself in the most naturalistic way that he understands how to do.
Yeah.
And when he tells these stories, it's so him. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think this one was him stepping away from himself. And it was like he was, I'm actually interested in this idea and I want to try and tell a story about this idea.
I saw an interview.
Rather than I'm just going to vomit out, and not that that's a bad thing, but vomit out my own thoughts and dreams.
Well, I saw an interview with Lynch, I think actually it must have been specifically about the Straight Story, where he was talking about, like, someone asked him, like, what does it, like, a Lynchian mean to you? Or what does it mean in general? And he's like, I don't care. I don't want to know what it means because I'm not concerned with Lynchianness. I'm concerned with ideas.
He also didn't write this.
Well, that's also true, yeah. And he wasn't supposed to direct it. They had written the script and asked him to read it, and he decided it was so good.
He enjoyed. Yeah.
But that's the thing as well, is he himself wouldn't have any concept of Lynchian, because it's a style that he's created but unintentionally.
Yeah, because he's just concerned with ideas.
Yeah, it's his
he
auteur,
felt the ideas in this movie were worth expressing.
Background.
So he did.
Yeah.
And those ideas probably are different to the ones he usually comes across as he's fishing in his analogy.
Yes.
But again, it's still a big fish, and he seems to have caught it. So
definitely.
Yeah.
But as I say, I think on technical level, it's well done. Mm-hmm. It's just personally, because I didn't have any strong emotional connection to it. Like, and there are other films that have explored aging that I've connected with more. Mm-hmm. I don't think necessarily this film didn't do as good of a job as those. I just think the way it's done just personally doesn't connect with me. But I could totally understand why people love it, and clearly they do. I mean, it's universally acclaimed. It's one of Lynch's most acclaimed works. It's also easily the most accessible.
Yeah.
So yeah, on technical it's good. I wouldn't go any further than that though. It's certainly not up there with like my favorite Lynch movies. But when I look at his work, I'm looking for different things.
It's the first Lynch film I've seen in ages.
Yeah.
I haven't watched him, I don't think, since 2021.
Oh really?
Maybe grade 12, 2022.
Damn.
But definitely not since.
That is actually. So have you seen many Lynch movies?
Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, this, Rattle Off More.
Lost Highway.
Nope. Oh, we did Wild at Heart on the podcast, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I loved Wild at Heart.
I mean, this is
Firewalk with Me.
Firewalk with Me.
No, I haven't seen any Twin
so
Peaks.
Good though. Firewalk with Me.
Although I remember when I first watched that, I watched it no context. Yeah. I loved it because
it was so awesome. Yeah. So fucked up. Such a fucked movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Inland Empire. No one's seen that.
Inland Empire.
Elephant Man.
I've been meaning to watch
Elephant Man.
for a while.
Elephant Man is probably the closest.
Oh, Elephant
to this.
Man. Yeah.
Elephant Man
in the sense that. Which one did he did this after, right? Because this is like the 90s.
This is 20 years later. Elephant Man's 1980. This is 1999. Elephant Man's 1980. Yes.
Yeah. So the Elephant Man. I find it interesting that, because this movie is similar in the sense it's just kind of a story, but I guess it's still expressing.
But see, for example, there you go. Elephant Man's a perfect example, because Elephant Man, I think, explores its characters a lot more deeply.
Yeah.
And as a result, I connected with that story more. Even though I mean, obviously there's a greater sense of injustice in that film, and so one would naturally connect with it. But that's a more specific theme, like exploring this sort of disfiguration and stuff, which I haven't experienced in life. Whereas the aging, I've seen that. I've seen my grandparents get old. I've seen my parents getting older. I've seen some of my grandparents die. And like I could connect with that more naturally in Straight Story. But actually I found that I was more emotionally invested in Elephant Man, just because I think it's the way it was done was better for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We
can rate it up.
And then we need to pick some films for next episode.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Sinners?
I don't even know it's out.
Sinners.
I'm not even lying. Sinners?
No, I don't think we can do Sinners. It's because it's too early.
In any case, we should do our rating before we start waffling.
Yes. All right. I'm happy to kick it off. I'm going to give the Straight Story a 9 out of 10.
A 9.
I loved it.
That is
I wish it
very
was
fair.
More recent in my head.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 7.
Ditto, I was going to give it a 7.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so, well, I've got to do my pick, but first we're just going to see So it's the 21st of April as we're recording this. So when will we record the next one?
Middle of May.
Well, just because like Mission Impossible is coming out May 17.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see that. And then the other thing is there's Thunderbolts.
Oh.
Which I actually think looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't watched anything about it. Heard anything about it.
Yeah, because it's actually a practically done Marvel movie. Like, they've actually taken care to do
I
stunts.
did see something about this.
Oh, it's got Florence
I
Pugh.
think it was someone
Is she
complaining.
playing Black Widow's sister still?
Yeah.
Same character?
Yeah, same character. So I reckon, if you guys are chill, I reckon we do that. I reckon we go Thunderbolts.
Do I need to know anything about what's happening in Marvel?
I'll tell you about it.
Because I don't know. I don't actually remember the last Marvel movie I watched.
We're in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool Wolverine.
Minus Deadpool, I don't think I watched.
Well, you didn't watch Captain Marvel 2.
I think like Loki might have been the Thor one, Love and Thunder.
Did you watch Black Panther 2?
No.
You would have watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay, yeah, I did do it. Yes. Okay. Well, I guess I'm more up to date now.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a Wes Anderson film coming out in a month and a half.
Yeah, but is it actually? In
The Phoenician Scheme, yeah.
No, it's coming out in the States. I don't know if it's going to be out here in that time.
Oh.
Because we
Well,
got...
we're doing that when it comes out. I don't care.
Yeah. But we got... I don't think we got, like, Asteroid City until 2 months after the US. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get that until, like, June or July. I reckon for now, minus things changing, because to be fair, we did change it in between last time. We'll do Thunderbolts and Mission Impossible. But we'll see. It could be something.
Yeah, it's 29th of May.
When we start...
Mission Impossible's coming out.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying.
So when did the
seen
last
two
one
of
come
them.
out?
2 years ago. He's actually
It's
done-
already been 2 years.
Yeah.
I remember that was a fun movie to watch.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That was a
this
good cinema
This one's going to
experience.
be banging.
How long is it? 100. Oh, dude.
It's going to be
3 hours.
17th.
17th of May. Dude, it's going to be so sexy.
Let's go, bro.
The Phoenician Scheme is scheduled for 30th of May, Australia.
Where? But where's...
Everywhere.
Is that on any cinema?
Hoyts.
Alright,
Alice?
if that's what it is, I mean, I'd rather do that than when is the Thunderbolts?
is the first. So it's the same distance
That'll be a
between
while.
Thunderbolts and
Yeah. Oh, true.
then
Yes.
Phoenician and Mission
Hold on.
Impossible.
Let me see if...
And it's Thunderbolts, bro. I mean,
Literally Palace Cinema, 28th of May 2025.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Hold on. I'll look.
Universal Pictures Australia, May 29th.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
Yep.
done.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do that and Mission Impossible.
Yep. And
Excellent.
Nicholas.
Oh, so my pick, yeah. So, it's tough. There's a few options. But I really, really want to watch, and I don't think this counts because the last time I saw it, I think I was 10. So I don't even have it logged on Letterboxd
that's
because
fine.
I don't remember anything about it. When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, I think I have that on my watch list, right?
Yeah, so do I.
Pull that shit up.
Yeah, so this is like a classic,
Yeah.
a classic rom-com thing. And I am not afraid to admit that I like rom-coms.
No, I think that's
And
totally fair.
We watched a good few in Europe, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
in a very
Oh, that's an interesting.
Heterosexual way.
intimate in an intimate cottage in the French countryside. Whoa.
Yeah. So this, it's
Excellent.
an absolute classic, and yeah, I really want to see it.
Super
Ah.
excited.
Yeah.
Done.
That was very left field. Awesome.
Yeah, I know. And what's even better, it's like an hour and a half.
Oh,
Bang.
good,
I'm
dude.
all for short movies.
That was so good.
We can all get cozy and watch it, eh?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
right. So
Alright.
there you go. That's it. Hope you
Thank you
guys
for
are so
listening.
thrilled to be back fapping. We certainly
Actually,
are.
I had
been
a
a
good
while.
time today.
Massive hiatus
Splendid.
from fapping.
Dude, crazy hype.
But we're back and better than ever. So get keen for more stuff.
More
Yeah.
fapping.
And Last of Us. Get on that shit, guys.
That's a good show.
We're watching that tonight.
Also, I would love to, like, if people saw our camera setup, like how jank it is, it would be...
Use Nick's phone to take a photo and we'll get it in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, we should do that. All right, anyway, thank you, and...
Laters, guys. Cheers.
Awesome.
Bye.
See ya.